Thank you for tuning in to Three Minds, One Mic. It's the regular folk talk show podcast, where we talk with regular folks about their opinions and perspectives on life and current events. With me always is Anthony and Radu, and we're glad that you tuned in. Hi, welcome to Three Minds, One Mic. I am one of the minds, but I am also the mic. So I wanted to welcome you to this podcast that we're starting and ask you to be patient because it is definitely a work in progress. So our first video is going to be good. I think our word podcast here, recorded podcast. So just bear with us as we work through some things and get this figured out. But the point of this podcast is going to be something that I wanted to do to bring some unity, to bring some reasons to celebrate our similarities. And it's not going to have anything to do with the social constructs that we're all divided over now. So I'm not going to bring that up. We know what's dividing us, the us, the them, the you, the me, ours, theirs, everything. But I don't want to. It's us. It's us. It's humanity. We're all in the same boat. We're all here. We're all making a difference in someone's life somewhere at some time. But with the stuff we're bombarded with, we're made to feel we're alone. Because, not alone, but we only belong in this tight little box. And these labels that we put on ourselves, on the left, on the right, up and the down, or whatever. These labels just come with these preconceived notions of what they are, and we start judging right away. So, my label is human. Period. I'm human. I'm a human person. And I know there's about 8 billion of us out here in this world. But what's funny, in each section and region of this world, there's only a very select few that decide for the many. This is something that's been going on for millennia. It's been going on for a long time. It looks different. It's packaged in different ways in different times in different areas. But it's always the same thing. The ruling class and the rest of us. And if there's going to be any division, I would prefer it to be that way. Because the ruling class that we have now, especially in America, my opinion, and this whole show is based off of opinion. It's entertainment. It's not factual. We're not teaching anything. We're not experts in anything. We're just regular folks. So my opinion on this is that that's the division we should have. Us, the majority, the many, the normal, everyday folks that just makes everything work for those that are in leadership. Now, I get it. We need to have some kind of leadership to guide us because there's a lot of us. You know, we're not all going to think the same thing or do the same thing, and we can't have total anarchy. But what we can do, I don't know. I honestly don't know what we can do. What we can do is focus on ourselves, our community, and not worry about the elite. Even though they're the ones making the rules, passing the laws, doing the stuff that they're doing, I really believe that we are no longer, or that our ruling class is no longer of the people, for the people, and by the people. They say we are because we voted these people in, but we don't. We don't. How many people actually show up for local elections? I'm talking about Congress folks. I'm talking about mayors. I'm talking about our representatives in our state and our zone. How connected are we with them? We're not. Why? Because we're kept so busy working, fighting, and just trying to live our best life with the little bit of time we have, our free time that we have, just to enjoy our family. So when do you have time to do this stuff? When do you have time to actually be involved in your local politics? And I think it's designed that way. I think it's designed that way so we can't meet in taverns like we used to, and, come together like we did 250 years ago, or however long it's been. It's been a minute. But here we are, doing the best we can with what we've got. So what I'm encouraging you in this whole 3 minds, 1 mic is that stop looking at people as their labels. If you're going to label anybody, label them human. Which means you're human, they're human, you hurt, they hurt, you have joy, they have joy. You know what it's like to be miserable, they know what it's like to be miserable. You know what it's like to be happy, they know what it's like to be happy. You know what it's like when you're sick and fearful, they know what it's like to be sick and fearful. Anybody you experience and you face and you talk to, they're all going to experience the same things you experience in one way or another. And I'm not talking in our similarities. We got physical bodies, we have physical issues. They look different in everybody, but we all have them. We all have a brain, and we all think, and we all have opinions and filters and things we look through. Everybody has it. Do you see? So divide over skin color, over gender, sex, whatever. To divide over those things is just ridiculous. What happened to, I'm going to do what I want as long as I don't hurt nobody? It doesn't mean I make them do what I want. I'm in control of me. I'm going to do what I can, what I want, with what I have. And everybody else is doing the same thing. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is the thing we forget, is that we're so divided over these ideologies that we forget the humanity in somebody. You talk to someone who's a progressive and be like, oh yeah, my buddy on the right. As soon as you say that progressive has this vision of whatever they envision someone on the right to have. And the same thing on the right. You go to a conservative and be like, hey, I have a progressive friend or a liberal friend, and they're going to concoct this image of what they think that person is without even meeting them or knowing anything about them. So then when you do meet that person, you already have this filter that you're looking through, and it's going to totally get in the way of getting to know that person. Right? Same thing, I'm a Christian. Right now, you have me in this box, however big this box. You have me in this box now, and in your mind, I'm a Christian, and you already have this vision of who I am without even talking to me, without even hearing a story or getting to know me or see how I interact in everyday life. And this is what we're doing. This is what the media has us doing to one another. And it's horrible. It's horrible. You meet the best, biggest, staunchest, whatever the word is, Trump supporter, and guaranteed they're going to be afraid of losing their kid if they're in an accident. Or they're going to be afraid of losing their spouse if there's any kind of danger happening. I guarantee it. Same thing if you go all the way to the left, to the staunchest, whatever the word, liberal, same thing. They're going to have the same fear over their kid, over their spouse, over their loved ones. We all have the same issues, the same concerns. But because we do this and we label and we envision what these people are, you never get to know these people. And that's heartbreaking. I have not met anybody and truly gotten to know them and just walked away and be like, I do not like that person. Never. What I have done is met somebody with my preconceived notions, and then they filled in all the dots because that's what I'm looking for, that confirmational bias. So I can sit there and say, no, I don't like that person, and I can feel justified in it. And that person becomes less of a human to me because I've labeled them, I don't know them, and now they're just whatever they are in my head. And that's not right. Because every single one of us are human. Well, maybe not Zuckerberg. But anyway, opinions, entertainment, that's all we're here for. So I want to invite you along on this journey as we go to seek out the humanity in anybody that will talk to us. We welcome comments. We welcome any ideas in the chat section or in the comment section. What we don't welcome is more division, okay? Because there's too much of it, and we're not about that. We're here today to celebrate humanity and the things that make us humans, not the thing that divides us as intellectuals or as our feelings. Oh my goodness, that's a whole nother thing. You look at what they do. They get your feelings. They get you in your hurt right there. And once you're in your feelings, forget about it. There's no logic. There's no sound mind. There's emotion. Raw, uninhibited emotion. And that is so fickle in humanity. Our emotions can be toyed with, played with, manipulated. But it never, ever clears the fact that we're all human. And every one of us experience those emotions to one extent or another. So let's put all that behind us. Let's keep it focused on unity, on humanity. Just love one another, you know? And there's my box right there of Christianity, a follower of Christ and his teachings. And that's what I'm choosing in my life. Because that's what helps me in my life. That's what helps me to view everybody as human. Because we're all in the same boat. All right? So, once again, bear with us. We're working on it. The videos hopefully will improve over time. Hopefully we'll get a guest list that'll keep us occupied weekly with new guests. And welcome our first guest, Wesley, as we talk with him today and get some insight from him. So, once again, thank you for joining Three Minds, One Mic. Well, I hope you enjoy it, and we see you next time. Welcome to Three Minds, One Mic, the regular folk talk show podcast. And with us today, as always, is Anthony and Radu and special guest Wesley. Welcome, Wesley. Glad to have you here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Welcome, Wesley.
Nice to be here with you guys.
Yeah, appreciate you taking the time. So the whole point of this podcast is that we talk to just everyday people, you know, and get like a consensus, get an opinion, get a perspective. And it doesn't matter what that perspective is, what that opinion is. We're not going to divide over it. You know what I mean? And we could be different in so many ways, but still get along fine. Fortunately, most of the people on this podcast right now share a lot of the same values on other things. And so we have quite a few things in common, and we get along very well despite our differences. So it's pretty cool. Wesley, what are you about, sir? Who is Wesley?
Well, I just turned 37 years old. I just recently got baptized. I'm following the teachings of Jesus Christ.
Congratulations.
Nice.
Thank you. That's been a big step. I also recently got engaged to my longtime girlfriend.
Nice.
Thank you guys. So I'm just trying to live my version of the American dream.
That's
Nice.
great segue to the next question I was going to ask you. What do you think of America at this point, of where we're at? Not the country itself, maybe the running government that we have in general. Not just the current administration, just how things have gone for the last 15 years.
That's a deep question.
It is.
I feel that this country has broken down in many ways in the last 20, 30 years. I feel like there was a time in this country where God and the family was the most important thing. And now I feel like it's the individual, my personal perspective, me, instead of we. And so I feel like we have a current administration that's trying to push us more towards that than previous administrations. But I also see flaws in the way he's doing things.
Right.
So
So do you think the American dream is still a thing?
I think that with Jesus, all things are possible. I feel like this world is a tough one to live in. And to make it any way, shape, or form, you have to have some kind of faith or some kind of guidance. And I think that's a difficult thing for a lot of people to accept.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've heard that before. Christianity or religion is a crutch. You're absolutely right. It really is. And yeah, no, I couldn't do it. Just the hope I get. And this is our belief. This is our opinion, and some people might differ with that, and that's fine. I'm not going to judge you on that. And I'm going to decide what kind of person you are, how you treat me, how you treat others. So, this is a very open venue, very accepting venue. But yeah, I'm very much on board with Wesley on that. The Lord Jesus.
I agree.
Can't do it without him. Questions? Any comments, you guys?
No.
Anthony, being part of the younger generation, how do you feel about this country is being ran, or the future of this country, or the American dream?
I think most people in my generation, the American dream, quote unquote, doesn't exist, or it looks very different for everybody. I think there is still some people that can kind of chase that, white picket fence, and they can do well for themselves. But I think on a more just like broad term, yeah, they're not. I don't think people are very happy with how things are run. I think it's just super divided. It's very divided. You're either super like most of the girls and the females of my generation are very super left, and which is fine, but just they're very radical, and they'll the things that they'll talk about and post, and how they'll treat you if they find out what I mean, that you're maybe not as supportive of X, Y, or Z. So it's weird. It's in a weird place, but I don't know. Yeah.
Do you feel like most or some of your generation is willing to look past that, or do you think they're concreted in that identity, that part of themselves?
Yeah, that's what it's exactly. They're finding identity in it, so they're really. It's pretty deep into the system. I feel like on both sides, there's radical people in my generation on both sides, and they're both very radical and very. The youth are the ones that are at the protests and are doing all that stuff. You know what I mean? Or organizing their own little kind of individual events, which I've seen before.
Right. Well, yeah. Usually it's the younger generation that's out there marching.
Yeah.
Especially college age.
But there's definitely silent that probably doesn't say anything and just tries to be neutral.
Or probably even just doesn't care that much about it. I mean, they might have it one way or another, but they don't necessarily find their identity.
Right. They're silent. Exactly. Yeah. So.
What do you see that in your experiences? People, do you see that? Like people getting treated differently because they're one way or another? They label themselves as this or that, or someone else labels them as something. Because I mean, that's kind of what it comes down to. Is just labeling. You know what I mean? You put a label on someone, and everybody's got an idea of what that label is.
Right.
I think that's huge. And labeling theory it's real. It's real.
Mhm.
Causes a lot of division, that's for sure.
Right. So do you feel you've been impacted by that in any way, or you've seen anybody else get impacted by it?
Well, not too much. I don't tend to congregate with one side or the other. I don't interact with individuals on either side, I would say. I don't know. I'm pretty, what's the word?
You got a close circle.
Homebody.
Withdrawn.
I
But I definitely see it.
more than I used to be. Because these dang so-and-sos, and those darn so-and-sos.
But it's obvious in the news and social media. It's just,
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah, but I mean, that stuff, it's real. You know what I mean? And I was there when Facebook was invented, when the internet was invented. And so it's like, yeah, Facebook, it's not fake. It's whatever. People posting pictures of this and that, happiest times of their lives. And now everybody's putting everything on there. But it's still, you took a handful of Facebook folks and put them in a group together in person. I bet you things would be a little different. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
I hate to use the term keyboard warrior because that's another label too, but I think that ability to not actually see the effects that we have on people with our words or our actions allows us to intensify some of those words or actions.
Yeah.
And they've done experiments on that. You don't see the damage you're doing to someone, you continue doing that. You know what I'm saying? And like ostrich syndrome or whatever you want to call that too. But yeah, it's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Well, our words definitely carry a lot of power.
They do.
Yeah.
More so now, I think, than they used to. It was always actions over words, and now it's people don't even want to see your actions. Once they hear your words, it's like that's it. That's all you are is what you say, how you stand, and your opinions. But we've lost that. I mean, individuality is a thing of the West for sure. That's a Western culture. To be individuals, to be on our own, and I get it. I'm not knocking that in any way. But it's so funny because I've worked in apartments and I've met a lot of people. I've always been sociable, and we strive to be different, be unique, and we are to an extent. But at the same time, on the underlying foundations of our lives, we're all the same. You know what I mean? You go into an apartment complex and you go into different apartments, and everybody's got cereal on their fridge. Everybody's got their silverware next to the stove. Everybody's got their cups and glasses on the third cabinet on the left. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
we're so similar and we're so the same that we latch onto these different ideas and labels just so we can stand out. But then it gets too far that we dehumanize each other while we're doing that. And it's because now you're just that label, and that's all you are. You're not even a person anymore. And I'm going to bring it up because it's new. But Charlie Kirk and the people that are saying whatever they're saying. I'm not even listening to any of it because it's just horrifies me that anybody would find gladness in someone losing a life in front of hundreds and thousands of people, if not more, with the television.
No, yeah, that's probably the worst part is that in this society, stuff like that, like killings, go viral, and it's like almost impossible to not see it. It like gets on everybody's algorithm somehow.
Right. Oh yeah, because then we all follow something political of some sort, or something on the news, or something. You put the right hashtags, it's going to pop out anything, regardless of what your algorithm is.
Well, just the mass media essentially. That will happen from now on. Like, if anyone is like assassinated, like presidential or not, whatever, in a public setting, it's like people that go to public settings and speak or whatever, preach X, Y, Z.
Right.
Now it's like, not now. It's always been a very realistic thing, but that's what will happen. Is that it will be televised and it'll be put everywhere.
And
Everybody go
yet,
see it.
there's still fear for people to stop doing that.
And I think I want to point out that the First Amendment of this country is free speech. No matter what your religious affiliation is, free speech is the First Amendment of the Constitution. And I think that says something that you should be able to say whatever you need to say without fear of repercussions. And for you to face the ultimate consequence, excuse me, the ultimate consequence of losing your life, that's the ultimate evil.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And because it is so spread out so quickly and just we're bombarded with these things, I think it helps desensitize us too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, let's just, which also
Definitely.
helps with the things that people are saying, you know, stuff like that. And it's not right. And it's, I mean, you can do that on the news, you know what I mean? They didn't show that stuff.
Right.
And even if it was live, it was cut right away. You know, you don't, like, you rarely saw anything. And now with social media and camera phones, everything, there's no
Everything's
censorship,
recorded,
there's no
clipped.
at all.
Yeah. People
Different angles.
posting about it for just the advantage because it's a hot story. You know what I mean?
I'm just trying to get the for a like.
Get the views and all the time.
And it's just
Yeah.
and leading, you know, tailgating on what Wesley was saying. It is freedom of speech, and we can go do those things without threat of force from the government, without repercussions from our government. That would be illegal.
Right.
But if somebody was hired, or you know,
Somebody decided to.
somebody decided to do it on their own, even though if something the government might have wanted or some other government might want it,
Right.
it's not the government doing it. So it's accepted. You know, it's just there's ways around those rights. They're finding all of them. They're finding a lot of the ways around our rights as humanity. In fact, In fact, I just read something recently that once, like 1871, once a certain bill was enacted, I forgot what it was, but that's when we stopped being a free democratic republic, and we became commodities, working and in the
What
system.
bill?
Huh?
What
I
bill?
don't know the name of it. It was a bill in 1871.
Hmm.
Find it. But I just saw it. I'll look it up. Or you can look up. Are you on your laptop?
District of Columbia Act?
Yes.
The Organic Act?
Where it's made a.
The repealed individual charters of the cities in Washington. Huh?
It said it created the corporation of the United States of America. And it stopped being a country, or that created the corporate side of this country. And that's why we have the Federal Reserve, a private entity, running and controlling all of them. They're contracted. They're contracted out to the corporation of America.
Yeah, that's why DC has their own government and stuff, and their own little police force.
Right. And on the bigger scale, and I shared this stuff before, and I think me and Radu talked a little bit about it, but on a bigger scale, like Washington, D.C., and this is of the Illuminati, the One World Order, the whatever you want to call it. And just by the way, we're not experts. This isn't facts. This is all for entertainment. Okay. But it talks about how even like that one world ruler kind of class has DC as its military arm, has London as its financial arm, and then had the Vatican as a religious arm. The three forms of control over society: financial, military, and religious. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And none of them. London isn't a state like a regular, you know what I mean? Like it's not like DC isn't a regular state. London isn't a regular city.
Like their own territory or what?
Yeah, they're like sovereign within another sovereign country. Like what else is sovereign? Our states are to an extent. They're supposed to be sovereign,
the Native American reservations.
To an extent as well, because the federal government does have
They have say-so. But they also have like their own policing system, their own like it's completely separate.
Their own jurisdiction.
Yeah.
But it's even more separate than that. Like Washington D.C. is its own entity, completely. It's just different. Anyway, that's what I heard. That's what I think. And so it kind of makes sense because, and what's Trump doing now? He's doing something with D.C.
Getting rid of the homeless.
Well, that, but he's not just militarizing it by bringing in the National Guard. I forgot what they call it. Fortifying it or something like that. Like making it more sovereign, more, you know what I mean? Like more capable of being separate from actual country, the actual United States.
I haven't heard that.
I hadn't heard that either. Something to look into, though.
Yeah, or keep your eye out for. I mean, I don't know what we could do to stop it, to change it, or Refuge's moving there soon or close to it.
Yeah, pretty soon.
You'll be above the law, bro. You become a tri-citizen in Washington, D.C.
Well, probably I'll end up in Maryland. Houses in D.C. are just super expensive.
Copy that.
Maryland, is it?
What's that?
Maryland, is it?
Maryland.
Isn't super expensive.
It's cheaper, yeah. It's
Come on.
cheaper.
It's a nice part of the country, man.
Yeah, Virginia's nicer, but even more expensive.
Is it really?
Yeah, especially around DC, close to DC, Virginia is more expensive than Maryland.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. You have to go live in the mountains in DC, dude. You just put a tent up. Some hillbilly neighbors.
Yeah, but then I get arrested by ICE.
They find you. Speaking of ICE, do citizenship still count?
I hope so. We'll see. I'm going to DC this weekend, so we'll see.
You're gonna check your passports within the city now.
I'm gonna bring it.
Just yeah, no kidding.
They'll be like, "Oh, you have an accent. Let's see your documents."
Step over here, please, sir.
Right.
Can you read and write in English?
I'm American if you can't write English. See, that's one thing that unites us here too is humor. We all got some of the best senses of humor here. So I think this is definitely a bonding thing. And I think that's what we've lost too. Is I don't think people laugh at themselves as much as we used to. You know, because we know we're flawed, we're not perfect. We can laugh at our mistakes, but I think more and more that's not the case. And I don't know, Anthony. Once again, back to your generation.
What?
Hi, welcome to the show. How are you?
No, I mean I'm listening, but not retaining.
Yeah, no, I forgot the question. How we could make fun of our used to be able to laugh at ourselves, make fun of ourselves, and now it's a little more uptight and people don't do that as much.
Kind of. I think people take themselves too seriously about certain things. Yeah.
Do you think that's a generational thing, or do you think it's just a humanity thing?
Taking things personal. I think that's a humanity thing. Everybody does it. It's very human.
In mass, you know what I mean? Like
it's very human. It's times as things escalate, as the world gets more hostile, people get more hostile. It's just kind of how it goes.
My experience has been a little different than that. When I was a kid, people had thick skin. You know, you can call them names, words. What's that saying? Sticks and stones.
Right.
So, you know, in my generation, we had to deal with bullies and we had to deal with conflict. And I feel like because of the internet, that conflict has been pushed further apart. It's not face to face anymore. And because of that, people feel like they can say what they want and offend people without there being consequences of your actions or your choices.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that you look at kids today, they don't have a thick skin. You say one little tiny thing that offends them, and they take it to heart and run off with it, and it really wounds them. And because of those wounds and that thin skin, they aren't able to deal with the negativity of the world.
You think that started with the participation trophy generation?
I I really feel like that comes from the breakdown of the family, and I feel like we don't have God leading the family. We don't have the family being led by God or this country being led by God. And so, yeah, that's how I feel.
Taking God out of everything is just making us more self-centered because we're not looking at something beyond ourselves.
Right. Well, and it goes back to the idea of me instead of we. I'm most people are more concerned about their own personal struggle instead of the struggle of us as a society.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where we need to get focused back again on is bringing God and the family back together, and then from that we can build community. And so to get back to those values and to get back to those traditions and those ways of life, we have to go back to that lifestyle.
It's very interesting. As you were talking, I was just thinking about that. Like, okay, so first, the family did start breaking down majorly in the 60s, 70s, breakdown of the family, for whatever reason. Many reasons, many things going on at the time, a lot of just stuff. And so that broke that down, but we still had society. We still had our neighbors. We still had our community. But now, as time is going on, and the fear mongering and the kidnappings and the stuff that's going on, and you just bombarded with it all the time. This stuff always happened, I think, but now it's just more exposed.
Face.
And because of that exposure, it might actually be more of it. Do you know what I'm saying? So now they're destroying community because everybody's afraid to go outside or relate with their neighbors because you don't know who's going to hurt your kid. You don't know who's going to do this. You don't know who's going to do that. So we all just, and then they give us this. Oh, well, you're safe now. I can be your friend from a distance, and you can't really take anything from me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like orchestrated. Break down the family, break down the community.
Yep. And I think isolating the individual is something that they've tried to do, and that's the purpose of the breakdown of this family is if you can get people feeling lonely and isolated, you can control them. But if everybody's in a loving and sharing and caring community, people are going to come by. Hey, how you doing? Let's go for a walk. Let's go get something to eat. Whatever.
Right.
And having that community gets you out of that loneliness and that isolation. And I feel like that's where like this whole DoorDash thing and Uber Eats thing from the whole COVID era, I feel like that's another detriment. That's keeping us from going to the grocery store and saying hi to our neighbors while we're shopping. Like it's isolating us more and keeping us from that community more.
Right.
Yep.
I agree.
Wow. Yeah, because I actually like that. I like that I don't have to go into a store and deal with people. Wow. But I used to like, not necessarily deal with people. I used to love being social, meeting new people, like hearing new stories, hearing new. And I'm kind of coming back to that again because my faith does help with that. You know what I mean? It does put me in a bucket with everybody else, and I'm not alone in this journey. But when I pulled away from that, and I did feel like I was alone, it was a world of difference. You know what I mean? For me, it was a world of difference. And so knowing I am a follower of Christ, I do have someone that's consistent, that's going to be there for me. And then a group of believers that is just nice too. And I'm not talking about church. I'm just talking about people that I know that believe in God, and the conversations, the community, even you feel within that context is just, I miss that. I really do. So I'm kind of getting back into that because I was disconnected. Still am. So.
What do you think about the younger generation's take on faith, Anthony?
I think someone like Charlie Kirk was a pretty big driving force for Christians and young Christians. He was pretty young. He's only 31, but his thing that he started, Turning Point USA, was primarily targeted to the youth and the next generation coming up. So I thought it was starting to. I think it was starting to grow stronger. It's been growing stronger. I feel like the faith and like Christianity again, but I definitely will say, like, growing up, I noticed a lot of just atheism and agnosticism, pretty much from a lot of people. So I feel like there's been a kind of, the scales have been teetering back towards like people more kind of searching out God and like actually wanting to create their own connection with Him and actually like see what it's about. I've noticed a lot more of that, but I think it's pretty split personally.
Copy that.
I think that's period like a good way to sum up my generation. It's pretty split.
Fairly split. I think that's something too, as the world gets worse and more things are exposed or more things are happening that we're seeing, and I think it can lead to that split too. Like you're either going to think, man, I need something to hold on to during all this tribulation stuff, all these storms, or it's like, why would I be part of somebody who allows this stuff to happen? You know what I mean? And which is I think that's a pretty, I don't know, it's just a different opinion. So I'm not going to judge it. People think that way, and that's fine. And I would love to have a conversation with them, but for this, and I wouldn't divide from them either. They come to me and somebody tells me I'm dumb for believing in whatever. That's cool. I respect your opinion. I'm going to hold on to my faith. But we can be friends, and let's go see what we have in common.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of this 3 minds, 1 mic is there's 3 different perspectives that are going to be consistent, 3 different views, 3 different ways of looking at things. Yeah, just one me. But we're all saying, we got to get the same voice as well. This is the 1 mic, MIC, that we can share. And I think this was a pretty good long show. So I think we can cut it off here. And Wesley, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Wesley.
Thanks for coming.
Back on again.
Appreciate it, guys.
Show with you. So
It's a good one.
until next time, thank you for 3 minds, 1 mic, featuring Radu and Anthony with our special guest Wesley. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Hasta la
God bless.
vista.